Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2022. In today's video, I'll show you the most talented youngsters you should sign for your team. But I'll be going for the ones under the radar, so not the ones that are riding World Tour races right now. So not an Ayuso, not a Tobias Johannesson. I consider those riders as broken through already. So we'll mainly look at the U23 teams that exist right now. Firstly, Romain Grégoire, a French 18-year-old riding for Equipe Continentale Groupama FDG, which is basically the U23 development team of Groupama, the World Tour team. In the game's default database, this rider is the most talented individual out there that is not already on a World Tour team. At his young age, he already has 67 mountains, 71 hills, and pretty strong secondaries and acceleration, for example. As you can tell from the stats, quite a puncher, isn't he? But next to his puncher qualities, he also has talent in other disciplines. One thing he probably won't become is a sprinter, though. Our next rider is also on the same team, Equipe Continentale Groupama FDG, a very good development team. Another 18-year-old from France, his name is Lenny Martinez. Again, very high potential and 72 mountain and 70 hills already at the age of 18, so that's crazy. One gigantic weakness though, the man has a terrible time trial stat and not that much potential when it comes to it. So he'll always kind of be a pure climber and not a stage racer. But again, a very talented rider. If you're looking for a cobbler, Equipe Continentale Groupama FDG once again has what you're looking for in Samuel Watson with 70 cobbles. He's got relatively high potential and should be a proper cobbler in the future. And we're not done yet when it comes to Equipe Continentale Groupama FDG. We've got a low-key sprinter here at the age of 20. Paul Penouet, 73 sprint, 72 acceleration. Looking good already, proper potential, and looks to be a good sprinter in the future. While his mountain stat is pretty low at 58, his hill stat is already 65, so he can grow into a pretty versatile sprinter, I'd say. Especially knowing that his cobble stats are 66, so there's some options there too. But with these stats already at the age of 20, destined to become a top sprinter. Same counts for Casper van Uden, very talented with 6-star potential when it comes to his sprinting. A 20-year-old Dutchman riding for a development team DSM with 72 sprint and 73 acceleration already. On to Jumbo-Visma's development team then for Johannes Stonemitted, a big talent. The kid has very high potential for a 19-year-old Norwegian, 70 mountains, 70 hills, but also a decent 64 time trial. And also high potential when it comes to his time trial, so this is not solely a pure climber. This man can become a stage racer and challenge Grand Tours in the future. And he's not the only Norwegian on this team. Per Strand Hagenes is a very talented rider, arguably one of the most talented ones, but also super versatile to the point that it's not easy to guess what this rider will become. I'd argue that his biggest talents are Northern Classics and punching, but his time trial is also really good. And his climbing can also become decent, same for his sprinting. So just a very versatile rider. This rider can become a new Wout van Aert, but a Norwegian version then. It's crazy, but the next talent is also from Norway, Stian Fredheim. A talented young sprinter, only 67 at the start, but his potential in sprinting is pretty high. He's currently in the UNOX Dare development team, so the U23 team of UNOX, but I'm pretty sure in real life he's making the step towards the proper UNOX team. Our next rider is riding for Equipo Kernpharma, Igor Arietta, a very talented 19-year-old climber with also loads of potential to improve. But there's a catch. Compared to Johannes Stonemitted, his time trial is also 64, but his time trial potential is quite a bit lower. So Igor will have a harder time when it comes to his time trial in stage races. Don't worry Belgium, we've got some talent too. In Alex Segaard, riding for the Lotto U23 development team. At the age of 18, he's already got 67 time trial and plenty of talent across the board. His high potential in time trial promises that he becomes a time trialist, but with a Northern Classic side to it, as he already has 66 cobbles as well. Just a very intriguing combination, reminds me of the likes of Cancellara, but a Belgian version I guess? Next up, another Belgian, Thibaut Nys. At the age of 19, he rides for Baloise Trek, which doesn't exist in the default game database, but Thibaut Nys does. Very talented across the board, 69 hills, 67 sprints, 68 cobblestones, 69 flats, 71 acceleration. Just very strong starting stats already. The game mostly sees him growing into a puncher though. I'm pretty sure in real life that he's joining Trek Segafredo. But hey, that doesn't mean it needs to happen on Pro Cycling Manager, eh? Next up is a Danish talent, Gustav Wang. 18 years old and the world champion when it comes to the men's junior ITT. Obviously that makes him a pretty damn solid time trialist. But in the base game only 64 time trial at the start, nonetheless very talented, so will grow. Looks like he also has some low-key potential when it comes to Northern Classics, but his cobble stat at the start is only 57, so I would not have high hopes. There's also some talent in Germany. Tim Thorn-Teutenberg, 19 years old, riding for Leopard Pro Cycling. He's a sprinting talent, but his base stats are only 67 sprint, but with 70 acceleration. But again, a lot of potential when it comes to that sprinting stat. Surprisingly, despite having 65 cobblestones, his potential when it comes to Northern Classics is not that high. But his hill stat is already 66, so he's destined to be somewhat versatile. Another rider with 5 potential is Casper Andersen, again a sprinter with 6-star potential when it comes to his sprint, currently at 67 sprint and 70 acceleration. Very similar to Tim Thorn Teutenberg there. And actually, when it comes to their other stats, also very similar. This is basically the Danish copy of the German guy. This one's currently riding for Hagensbaum and Axion, also 19 years old. There is another talent on that team though, Leo Hayter, family member of Ethan Hayter. Quite talented across the board to be honest, with puncher as his main focus in terms of potential. But honestly, stats-wise, it's quite odd because 68 hills combined with only 63 acceleration is not really the combination you see a lot in punchers. What is intriguing is his mountain stat and time trial stat, both 65. To me, this sounds like a rider I could also grow into a stage racer, for example, with the right training. On X Pro Cycling, there's another Danish rider with talent, William Blume-Levy. He's got qualities in both time trial and barrier, of which the first one is the most intriguing, but his base stats are a bit lackluster, 65 time trial and 66 prologue only, at the age of 20 already, so not the youngest. Anyway, those are the biggest youngsters under the radar. If you have any more of those, drop them in the comment section below to share them with the others. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you soon for my next video. Goodbye.